up, Muggles? How's it going? Today I'm on Seamus's channel.
We are collabing today on a theory, which is really weird because I've never collabed really on a theory where two people are sitting in the room at the same time. I have no idea how this is going to work. You're probably just not going to say anything. Because,
I'm just going to nod.
But yeah, today's video, we're doing a theory on Barty Crouch Jr. So, hello there! How are you doing?
The thing is, I find weird with like Barty Crouch Jr. He's actually like a really good teacher.
Like, yeah, he genuinely was, wasn't he? Like, he was a Death Eater working for Voldemort, but he was still one of the best, like, Defense Against the Dark Arts teachers Harry had. Like, I would say he was the second best.
Second best,
like,
definitely.
Over Snape.
No.
Like, do you remember how ecstatic Fred and George were with him after their first lesson with him in the Goblet of Fire? Probably, because, like, I know the book's back to front, right?
Yeah, I know where it is, definitely.
Fred, George and Lee exchanged looks full of meaning. Never had a lesson like it, said Fred. He knows, man, said Lee. Knows what? Said Ron, leaning forwards. Knows what it's like to be out there, doing it, said George impressively. Doing what? Said Harry. Fighting the dark arts, said Fred. Like, what have you been doing for the last 10 seconds?
Fighting the dark arts, and he's a Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. That's what you want from them. Even they said it. It's Fred and George. You know,
like, Fred and George, they hate teachers.
Yeah,
like, they hate school, like, and they loved him.
If they're saying it, then.
Yeah. He's also got great control over the class, and clearly has great classroom management skills. Like, during the Unforgivables lesson, he starts out by letting them participate as a class in explaining what they are, demonstrates them, and then teaches them something that's undeniably useful. Also, when he uses the Cruciatus Curse in front of Neville, and Neville is clearly afraid of him...
I think Neville's the problem here. I think, like, Neville's just scared of teachers.
I genuinely agree. Like, I think he has a phobia of teachers. Like,
it's
this
not
isn't
Snape's
fault.
Hashtag
in defense of Snape. We made a diss track on it, and yeah, it's lit.
Fire.
Yeah, people cringing right now?
Yes.
I hope so. But unlike Snape, Moody actually deals with Neville being afraid of him pretty well and invites him in for tea. It's alright, Sonny, he said to Neville. Why don't you come into my office? Come on, we can have a cup of tea. Neville looked even more frightened at the prospect of tea with Moody. He neither moved nor spoke. And despite the fact Neville was obviously visibly frightened of him there, his condition did improve that evening when Harry asked him in the evening, "You're right, Neville?" "Oh yes," said Neville. "I'm fine, thanks. Just reading this book Professor Moody lent me." He held up the book. Magical Mediterranean water plants and their properties. "Apparently Professor Sprout told Professor Moody I'm really good at hobology," Neville said. There was a faint tone of pride in his voice that Harry had never really heard before. I know.
That's so cute. Like, that sums up. He's actually a really good teacher in that sense.
Yeah, exactly.
He's improved Neville's day.
Like, Sprat probably never said that to Moody, but, like, it really did, like, make him happy.
Yeah,
like it's kind of like...
I feel like we're defending Barty Crouch Jr. in this video.
Yeah, it's like, forget about in defense of Snape, it's in defense of Barty Crouch Jr. right now.
Part 2. Like, Harry even compared him to his favourite teacher. It was the sort of thing Professor Lupin would have done.
Like, honestly, out of Harry's Defense Against the Dark Arts teachers, he was one of the best ones. I guess, like, it's not much to compare him to with, like, Umbridge and Lockhart. Like, one of the biggest plot holes is that Barty Crouch Jr., disguised as Moody, actually taught him too much. Like...
Idiot!
Like, he actually taught Harry how to defend himself against the unforgivable curses, which Voldemort obviously went on to use against him, and Harry never learnt how to defend himself against them anywhere else.
Well done, Barty Crouch Jr.
You just lost the war for Voldemort.
And technically, you also saved him with this thing, the portkey.
Oh my god, where did she go? What? That was probably, like, the worst ever clip of a video on my channel ever, so, yeah. But, like, you don't even want to get me started on portkeys, like... Oh,
here we go.
Just like portkeys are used for such plot convenience. Like, they're only in there so they can save Harry at the Goblet of Fire. Like, if they were really that useful, why wouldn't they use portkeys to take people to Hogwarts? Like, what's the need for the Hogwarts Express?
Actually, I'm just reading Pottermore right now, and they did use portkeys to get students to Hogwarts.
Oh, really? Why did they stop? Up to a third of students would fail to arrive every year, having missed their time slot, or being unable to find the unobtrusive enchanted object that would transport them to their school. But then, why didn't they get, like, a train to the Quidditch World Cup? Like, there's a plot hole here. You've got to agree with me here. Like, it's used in... I think the portkeys are used for plot convenience. Also, there are 2 examples in the Harry Potter series of portkeys being used to travel from outside Hogwarts to inside Hogwarts. Like, if you've read the Order of the Phoenix book, you'll know that Dumbledore gave Harry a portkey he made himself so he could travel back from the Department of Mysteries to Dumbledore's office.
Also, this returned Harry back to Hogwarts from the graveyard.
Which means that the magic stopping people from apparating onto the Hogwarts ground clearly doesn't work on portkeys.
So why didn't Voldemort just use a portkey, go into the Gryffindor Tower, kill Harry, done by book 4?
Literally, it would have been that simple. I don't know, just the whole concept of portkeys just infuriates me.
You need to stop the rant now.
Yeah, if we need to get back to the point. What point were we making? Portkeys. What it says on Pottermore about portkeys is that there are two main types. Almost any inanimate object can be turned into a portkey. Once bewitched, the object will transport anyone who grasps it to a prearranged destination. A portkey may also be enchanted to transport the grasper or graspers only at a given time. In this way, the arrivals and departures of great numbers of witches and wizards can be staggered, enabling such events such as the Quidditch World Cup to take place with very few security breaches.
The first one is like the Triwizard Cup, which is simply triggered by touch.
And these are seemingly produced pretty basically, as Dumbledore produces one in the Order of the Phoenix, and let me read the quote. He pointed his wand at it and muttered, "Portus." The head glowed blue and trembled noisily against the wooden floor for a few seconds, then it became still once more. Like, that's all you have to do to create a portkey, apparently.
Even I could do that.
Then you've got the second type of portkey, which is like the boot, which basically serves the exact same purpose, but only works at a given time.
Apart from the Triwizard Cup, there's literally no mention of a portkey working both ways.
Yeah, same on Pottermore. Like, there is literally only one portkey that actually returns the person back to their original location, and it's the Triwizard Cup. That just seems like an awful lot of plot convenience, doesn't it? Like, I've dug deep into the lore of Harry Potter looking for portkeys that take someone back after they've already taken someone somewhere, and I can't find one other example. Like, I've dug so deep, I found an example of a portkey in Quidditch Through the Ages. And this example makes it very clear that portkeys don't work both ways, because it says there have been several incidences of broom tampering over the centuries, the most dangerous being the transformation of the referee's broom into a portkey, so that he or she is whisked away from the match halfway through, and turns up months later in the Sahara Desert.
I feel like that just proves it that like some don't work both ways. Like, he would come back if he had the chance. The question is, why does the Triwizard Cup take you both ways?
Like, this is like a huge flaw in Voldemort's plan, isn't it? Like, it just literally gives Harry a way back. If it made it a one-way portkey, like every other portkey we're given an example of, this wouldn't have happened.
So do you think it was meant to be a portkey anyway?
I think it might have been, and then he put another spell on it before, so that it went to the graveyard first, but then when it was triggered a second time, it took them back to the school where they were meant to go when they touched it. And the question you're probably asking is, why didn't Barty Crouch just make the portkey one way? Why didn't it just stop at the graveyard? Why did it need to go back to the school? And this is what the whole video's been leading up to. And we believe that there are two solutions for this. The first one is that Voldemort wanted to use the portkey to return to Hogwarts that night.
To kill Dumbledore! But here's the thing, I don't think Voldemort knew it was a two-way portkey.
Like, he was just so shook. He's like, what's
happened? Going on?
Like, yeah, I agree with you. He wasn't even nearly enough precautious with it, was he?
He could have guided Harry away from the portkey, or maybe, like, get Wormtail to move it a bit.
Like, he did nothing to move that portkey. No. He also just left it there for Harry for the taking, really. That's why this theory works, but it just doesn't make too much sense. Like, I don't think Voldemort's that stupid. Which brings us to solution 2, and oh boy, this is a good one.
I like this one.
What if Barty Crouch made it two ways intentionally? What if he wanted Harry to go to the graveyard to help the Dark Lord regain his body, but then wanted Harry to also return to Hogwarts so he could kill him himself? Because he thought if he killed Harry, he'd be paraded as a hero by the Dark Lord. He even says it himself.
Imagine how he will reward me when he learns that I have once and for all silenced the great Harry Potter.
Little did he know.
Like, Voldemort would have been so
angry.
This makes almost perfect sense, fits perfectly with his character, and he literally almost says it himself. The Dark Lord didn't manage to kill you, Potter, and he so wanted to, whispered Moody. Imagine how he will reward me when he finds out I've done it for him. I gave you to him, the thing he needed above all to regenerate, and then I killed you for him. I will be honoured beyond all Death Eaters. I will be his dearest, his closest supporter. Closer than a son.
That's not going to happen, mate.
He doesn't know Voldemort, does he?
If someone killed Harry for Voldemort, I don't think Voldemort will be able to live with himself. He would rather just be dead.
This would explain why Voldemort didn't know it was a two-way portkey, and you cannot forget his reaction to that. And he even says in the film, after Harry returns,
and now the deed is done.
Which is implying that the deed was literally just to regenerate Voldemort's body, but not to kill Harry. He wanted Harry to come back, and that the deed was for him to kill Harry in the end.
And he locked him in the office and raised his wand to him.
Thank you for your input.
And also, like, Moody isn't shocked when Harry comes back. Surely he'll be confused when he sees Harry come back with the Triwizard Cup.
Because, like, he thought he was dead. Like, he thought Voldemort was going to kill him. And then, like, he isn't surprised at all. He's like, let's just take you to my office. Also, to go way back into this video, this would explain why he taught Harry how to defend himself against the unforgivable curses. The reason people assume he was such a good teacher for Harry was because people believed he was training Harry to win the Triwizard Tournament, but who was going to use an unforgivable curse against him in the Triwizard Tournament? Unless he wanted Harry to defend himself himself against Voldemort, return to Hogwarts, kill him himself, and be paraded as Voldemort's closest supporter. Almost as close as a son. Yeah, I never know how to end theories. Like, I feel like that's the end right there. I never know what to say. We also made a video on Sophie's channel, which will be linked in the description, and iCard here. That's the right side, right?
We basically did like a Dare Beer Pong Harry Potter edition
thing. It was great. It'll be funny. You'll love it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to Sophie and
check out my video on my channel that I did with Seamus.
If you haven't seen me before, or have just never decided to subscribe to me before for some reason, make sure to subscribe by clicking here. Check out the diss track we made on Sophie's channel a couple weeks ago, and yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.